Hello and welcome back. If you cast your minds back a little bit to the beginning of this block of episodes when we started talking about the s or is verb, I said that it can be used when you have a noun and a pronoun, etc., but it is more like a poetic or used for emphasis. There's actually another way of talking about, for example, he is a dog, etc. Actually, there are two different ways, but one way is when you are trying to say that somebody is something inherently. So, for example, they were born as something, they continue to be that thing. And then there is another form of saying it where it is something that's a bit more transient, something, for example, like a job, where you begin a job and you can end a job, so you won't be that thing forever. In this episode, we're going to look at the more permanent, the you were born this way, you will die this way sort of am or is, which is formed by using the she and then having a noun. So, for example, dog, human, cat, whatever. And then after that, it is followed by hun, which that un means in it or in him. But it is also used to just mean in. So it can be a little bit complicated. But yeah, in this case, it means in him. So what our sentence is really saying is, it is a man that is in him, or it is a dog that is in him. So it's an interesting way of saying it, but it is the normal way of saying it in Gaelic, I believe. To say he or it is a person, you'd say something like she dun han. In standard, I think it's something like she dunya a haun. To say something like the animal is a cat, you'd say something like she kat hans viach. She kat hans viach. So that hans or ans is the definite form of in. So in the ans. To say it is a dog, you'd say something like she kuhan. To say in me is anum. And to say something like I am a big man, or it is a big man that is in me, which sounds a little bit weird when you say it in English, you'd say something like she fer mor hanum. To say something like I am a woman, you'd say something like she bornach hanum. To say in you is anit or ant. And to say you are a person, you'd say something like she dun hanit. To say in her is inch. So to say she is a fox, I don't think this is meant in the sense of being beautiful, but like literally a fox. She balagar hinch. To say in us or we are something, you'd say anan. So it sounds like anum, but the end is an N rather than an M sound. And to say we are mice would be something like she luchagan hanan. The word for song is oran. And to say it is a song, you'd say, I suppose with the masculine, you'd say she oran han. To say in them or they are something, you'd say ant. So to say they are songs, you'd say she oranan hunt. She oranan hunt. One thing to note with she is that in my books that I have, it sometimes is and sometimes isn't elongated. So sometimes it is she, sometimes it is share. So I'm not entirely sure when and where to use those different sounds, whether they just depend on the situation, whether it's just something that people like to do. I don't know. I have no idea. So, yeah, I think my recordings are probably like the material in the books. They're a little bit of both. So I don't know. Perhaps that's something that I can look at in the future, and or if there's nothing there, just if you want to emphasize more, perhaps elongate the air after the sh. So share, maybe that is the appropriate way to do it. I'm not entirely sure, but it's something to keep in mind. So to say something like, I am not a person, you would say something like, Chane dun hanam. Chane dun hanam. To say in you guys, so the plural you, is anni. Anni. So to say you guys are not women, you'd say something like, Chane bornich hani. Chane bornich hani. Like in previous episodes, the word for isn't it is nach. So to say the word for flower, you'd say flúr. And to say, isn't it a flower, you'd say something like, Nache flúr han. Nache flúr han. And sometimes it's also said, Nachne flúr han. So there's a little bit of a sneaky N that pops in there. To say, isn't she a woman? You'd say something like, Nache bornach hinch. Nache bornach hinch. And like the other forms, if you want to make a question, you'd say, ne. So, am I a person? You'd say something like, ne dun hanam? Ne dun hanam? And to ask something like, are they cats? Ne kutch hunt. Ne kutch hunt. And as always, now we'll have a look at some of the words that we have, well, looked at in this episode. Hun. Hun. Hunnam. Hunnam. Hunt. Hunt. Hunnet. Hunt. Hinch. Hinch. Hunnan. Hunnan. Honey. Honey. Hunt. Hunt. Is. Is. She. Share. Cha. Chane. Nach. Nache. Nachne. An. Ne. Oran. Oran. Oranan. Oranan. Flúr. Flúr. Ballagad. Ballagad. Luchag. Luchag. Luchagan. Luchagan.